something strange is going on with the Edmonton Oilers as the injury bug is affecting the team and its salary cap and lots of roster decisions to fit under the cap for the Edmonton Oilers to make themselves sure that they have a roster that is salary cap compliant there. But again, some troubling news regarding an Oilers defenseman that we are all excited to see. All that more today here on Oilers Digest. The 71% of you watching the videos here. If you love the team, if you're loving the videos, make sure you hit that button down below for any and all Oiler news there as the team gets set. Finally, we've been through the long summer, we've been through the long training camp, we went through 8 preseason games there, but tomorrow night it all starts with the Oilers in Flames at Rogers Place at 8 o'clock Mountain, Wednesday, October the 8th. The season starts today with the American triple header there, but the real games, the ones that we care about, begin tomorrow night against the Calgary Flames there in Leon Draisaitl. Very excited regarding the Connor McDavid extension and the fact that the team can still contend, not just this year, but the years beyond. The core is set. It's just about finding the right pieces that complement the core group and become a team that can contend and win every single year. But within our group, we still got to do our work regardless of the individuals there. So Leon Draisaitl excited for the season, but still grounded and, tempering his expectations on heading into this season there. It's always a grind, especially when you've fallen 2 straight years in the Stanley Cup final. You got to do that 82-game grind and, yet go through another grueling playoff run. But, eventually when the Oilers do lift that Stanley Cup, it will all be worth it there. And the Oilers also have some roster moves to announce there. They have placed Zach Hyman on LTIR and recalled David Tomashek from the Condors there. So it's sort of the salary cap gymnastics that we've been talking about the last couple of days there. And for Zach Hyman, because he's on LTIR, that means he must be expected to miss at least miss 10 games in 24 days of the NHL season there. So the earliest we will see him is the beginning of November if everything goes to plan there. And from Puckpedia, as they predicted, the Oilers sent down Tomashek and Howard and called up James Hamblin for their opening roster with $834 of cap space, because you want to get as close as you can to $0 for the LTIR capture to extend the salary cap to be over it while Zach Hyman is on LTIR. And then Matthias Janmark is obviously on injured reserve there, and because Hyman was added onto LTIR, the Oilers can exceed the cap by $3.8 million. $834 away from optimal LTIR capture, and they can call up Howard and Tomashek and send Hamblin down Wednesday there. They only had the room to call up one forward there, and that's why they did call up David Tomashek there. I know I saw a lot of Twitter replies saying, oh, Ike Howard, is he going to spend some time with the Bakersfield Condors? No, they only had room for one recall, and they used it on Tomashek there. So when they do send down James Hamblin tomorrow, they will call Ike Howard up there from Jason Gregor. Obviously, no roster spot open as Hamblin is on the roster, and he has to be for 1 day for cap purposes, so they get under the cap. And Howard will be on the ice tomorrow morning and will be available to play versus Calgary there. And, the timeline for Jake Walman, I mean, it's been the ups and downs there. September 29th, Jake Walman was day-to-day. He was supposed to play, in the last preseason game against the Vancouver Canucks. Did not do so. At worst, he'll be ready for opening night. And, it just goes from, bad to worse, to good. He signed that extension there, Steele, for the Edmonton Oilers, but he suffered a setback, and that was a couple days ago, October 5th. And now, alongside the Ike Howard news being recalled by the Oilers, Walman is out for the season opener there, and Alec Regula is likely to play with Dardanellers with Jake Walman injured there. But, Kris Knoblauch loving the way that Regula has played during the preseason there, myself included there. I mean, he's been a very steady defenseman on the back end for the Oilers, saying Alex had a great training camp and he's going to get better with more playing time. He's a big guy that can move the puck. He's got a good head on his shoulders, can read the play and provide us with some offense, and we feel very confident in his game there. And again, the Oilers, one of the best defensive cores in the NHL there. You can see there on the bottom of the screen there, but I will get to that in just a second. With no Walman, it's a little questionable. I mean, he was originally day-to-day, and then he suffered a setback. So Kris Knoblauch has done that in the past before when it comes to assessing injuries and giving the media a timeline. I mean, it happened last year with Matthias Ekholm and numerous other cases that don't come to mind right now. But, he's been a little, mysterious with the media regarding injuries there. But from Jason Gregor in the Oilers practice rushes this morning there with Leon Draisaitl, with Connor McDavid and Trent Frederic there. The experiment that Kris Knoblauch ran with in the preseason, it looks like he will run with that while Zach Hyman is out there. A second line that I'm absolutely loving the look of there with Andrew Mangiapane, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and Matt Savoy, and then Vasily Podkolzin, Noah Philp, and Kasperi Kapanen there. I'm loving the fact that Noah Philp is getting a run at the third line center spot there, and the fourth line, that won't be the fourth line tomorrow night with Adam Henrique, David Tomsek, and Curtis Lazar. Obviously, Howard not on the ice, can't be recalled until after 3 o'clock there, when teams have to officially submit their opening night rosters there. And on the back end, Matthias Ekholm and Evan Bouchard, Darnell Nurse and Alec Regula, and then Brett Kulak and Ty Emberson with Troy Stetcher as the extra defenseman there. And of course, Howard will play tomorrow night, and it sounds like his line will be the fourth line this will be, which again is a very interesting fourth line. But Kris Knoblauch said, he doesn't want, the third and fourth lines to have, the mentality of, okay, we have to be minute munching lines until, McDavid and Draisaitl get back out on the ice there. You want to consistently run the four lines that can be and will be a threat at any given time. And this fourth line obviously will be, and he wants to, spread the ice time evenly within all four lines. But with Kris Knoblauch, he will run a fourth line of Ike Howard, Adam Henrique, and David Tomsek. Knoblauch felt it would be better having Henrique in the middle with lefty and righty wingers there, and that'll be a very interesting one. Howard and Tomsek still getting adjusted to the NHL way of play there, and Adam Henrique, I hadn't been too high on him quite recently there, going back to the Stanley Cup playoffs, but you put a grizzled vet in the middle with them, and Howard not afraid to shoot the puck there, and Tomsek again still finding his way, but he's looking very, very confident as it goes on with the Edmonton Oilers. But just going back to the lineup, I would sort of take Frederic off the first line there, but we haven't seen too much of those three together. We've only seen them in 2 games together in the preseason, and you get into full swing there. Frederic still coming off of that ankle sprain there, and again, it takes time. We've heard Draisaitl say it takes time to feel fully confident from getting back to 100% after those types of injuries there. Obviously, you don't want to re-aggravate it there, but at the same time, you want to let loose after pretty much restraining yourself with that ankle injury there. But I'm loving the second line of that: Mangiapane, Nugent-Hopkins, in Savoy. That'll be a very annoying line to play against there. You have Savoy and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, the two-way guys, and then Mangiapane not afraid to shoot the puck there. And then Podkolzin, Philip, in Kapanen, I think will just be an absolute grind line. Loving the way Podkolzin plays, so it'll be interesting to see how he plays with Kapanen in Philip there. And Curtis Lazar obviously will be the extra for tomorrow night. But that is it for today's video, folks. Let me know down in the comments, how nervous are you regarding Jake Walman? Do you think he'll miss some more time, or do you think he'll only miss the one game against the Calgary Flames and he'll be back in the lineup for Saturday? It's nice after Wednesday night, the Oilers have 2 days off before they play Vancouver on Hockey Night in Canada there. So let me know, how worried are you regarding that, and your thoughts on the opening night lineup for tomorrow. Just a heads up, that fourth line today, obviously not the same fourth line as tomorrow night's game there. So Knoblauch sort of trying to make it work without Ike Howard, who obviously isn't technically on the Oilers roster right now. But folks, have a fantastic rest of your day. Enjoy the games tonight, triple header for you, those of you that watch baseball. The Jays game 3 tonight against the Yankees, so lots of sports on tonight, and never a dull moment. But take care. I'm Matt.